So my name's Chantel, this is my husband Paul, and we're standing here in our beautiful home in Montmorency thanks to Professional Residential. It was almost 6 years to the day that we bought this place. We're standing there at the front at the auction. Our daughter was 3 months old in the carrier, and we were just so excited when we got this place. There was this little old white weatherboard in the middle of the property, but we had vision for what we could turn this place into. So yeah, here we are.
Yeah, the intention obviously was always to knock down the house and to build 2 townhouses, one for us to live in, one for us to sell. So we had great plans, and we endeavoured to do that. So we heard about Professional Residential through a colleague at work, but when we came to the build process, we did tender out to a few different builders, but Michael and his team just basically worked through us with all the costings. They really sat down with us and explained everything, and not only were they a very competitive price, but they just came across with the service that we really wanted and expected from a builder. Our experience with Professional Residential was always great. They were always contactable, they were very reliable, and what we love about Professional Residential was their no problem attitude. Every challenge that we faced, every issue that came across, which happens when you are building a house, they were very solution focused, and so that gave us a lot of confidence knowing that we had the right builders on site doing what they could.
I know there was a couple of times where I had a couple of little mini freakouts, as you do when you're building a house, but there was a couple of problems with our design as well as the structural stuff. So at ProRes, they just came up with solutions, and they gave us ideas of what we could do to fix those problems. Like this back wall here, there was just a few little things, but we came up with a plan, and with their support, we just got exactly the look that we were after anyway. So it was amazing. So what we love about this place, well, what isn't there to love? This was the exact vision that we had for it when we first bought the place, and I personally love how we've combined the woodwork, so that real warmth of the wood grain with the coolness of the concrete floors and just the clean lines. I think it just works so beautifully, and with Michael's input as well, with our designers, it's just worked exactly the way that we wanted it to.
Yeah, I think what also helps was the fact that the work was such a high standard. And because Michael and Professional Residential hold very high standards for themselves, they attract trades of the similar values and standards themselves. So we were never concerned around how it was going to look in the end, because we knew that they were going to do their absolute best, and that's what they've done.
What I loved about Michael, it wasn't just him, but it was his team as well. So I developed this really cool relationship with the boys, because they were here on so many occasions, and I've got 2 young kids, so the fact that they were able to give me the exact times that they were turning up, they'd send me a quick message, it just made life a hell of a lot easier for me.
Yeah, it's funny, when we told people that we were actually going to build, there was a lot of people sort of telling us, oh, don't do that, don't do that. I think that's because they probably had problems with their builders in the past. But we love the process. I mean, yes, it was challenging at times, but because of the quality that Professional Residential adhere to, and because they have such high standards, they attract other trades with the same type of values and same standards. So we were never concerned with who was in our house and what they were doing, and we know that they were always doing their absolute best. So we would highly recommend Professional Residential to anyone that is either new at building their very first house, or someone with very high standards, or just if you want that creative input from a builder that can also help you save money, then I fully recommend Professional Residential.